It's time for some pitch deck critique, and I'm going to walk through this pitch deck, give you my opinion on how I approach this pitch deck, and then, as usual, or what I've been trying to do lately, is demo how I am rewriting this pitch deck, working with these founders to hone their pitch decks so it can become a screener deck. And a screener deck is the deck that you send to investors right out of the gate. You're not pitching it live. You're saying, hey, here's who we are. Here's what we do. Problem solution. This is the reason we think you're a good fit as an investor. You can take a look at our pitch deck, and then poof, they want to give you a call, and then you can show them your more, I guess, advanced or more content rich pitch deck, more detailed pitch deck, and get that investment. So here is Scaeva Technologies, and I only like to do this with the pitch decks that I believe in terms of I believe in the founders, I believe in the startup. My big appreciation to Steve and gang, and especially Tiffany, who's been working tirelessly trying to refine these pitch decks, taking my critique and advice, and just keeps going back and forth. And I'm going to walk you through on how they've been able to give me information. We've been able to hone down what we want to communicate to investors and then move on from there. So this is their first pitch deck, and the first pitch deck that they created, and you're going to notice it's very beautiful. It's a great design pitch deck, but we're looking at the narrative. And right away, I'm going to point out when I look at this, what I do is I read. I try and get everything I can right from the headline on the cover page. And if I don't understand what they do right away, or at least get a solid grasp of where this pitch deck's going, then I'd rather you not have anything on there, because you just don't want to squander that opportunity. And, putting some kitschy slogan and all that stuff, not interested. In fact, I kind of start to, it affects me, maybe just because I'm jaded and I look at so many pitch decks, but you see some big hyperbolic marketing slogan, doesn't do anything for me. So I'd rather have nothing there. I'd rather have just, pitch deck. But here we create and license high precision spatial audio experiences that transport listeners anywhere. All right. So you made a lot of promises in this. I don't get it. Immediately, I don't get it. So we're not starting off on the right foot. Now, again, I just want to clarify. I love this company. The technology is super cool, and there's so many cool things that they could be doing. But I'll get into that. And so, but I'm looking at this pitch deck from just the immediate impressions. Remember, your investor, especially a professional one who's receiving 10 decks a day, only will take a few minutes. I take maybe 3-5 minutes tops to look at a pitch deck before I make a decision. So you only got a small bit of time. You got to make that count. So now we get into key highlights. And I know this is something that's very common in pitch decks, especially if you're doing equity crowdfunding. Not interested. I don't care. I want to get to the problem statement right away, because I want to know, is this company solving a problem that I can relate with, or that I believe that needs to be solved, etc. So I'm just not going to read this. So I'm going to pass over. Okay, 50 million independent creators want freedom. That's not a problem statement for me. Like, is that, okay, sure, that's what they want. Do they have it? Don't they have it? And the tools they use need to catch up. COVID lockdowns accelerated the growth trend of increasing focus on production and collaboration, drive the need for recording studio environments at home. That's not a problem. That's something that people want. And so we're creating, you're saying it's a big market, but I don't know if another company is already servicing this market. Like, is this a problem that you need to solve? And the reason is that startup investors are looking for disruptive, groundbreaking, category-defining, innovative solutions to problems that are typically underserved, that nobody's thinking of. Because if, like, I just think, like, I use Adobe Audition, and I know there's all these other, sound, and I know professional sound people. There's lots of people, lots of companies that want to provide sound and creative tools. So this isn't doing it for me, right? Now, Scaeva powered immersive audio. All right, no solution. I don't know. By modeling the acoustic of real world space, pairing it with our patented high performance real time spatial audio rendering engine, we could, and then we've got like a trademark name, or it creates a feeling of total acoustic immersion. So are we solving a problem for the creator or the person listening, or what's going on here? And validated by Grammy winning award professionals. It's kind of a mind F, right there. Like, again, Van Halen, that's cool, but I have no idea what's going on here. So I went from creator to a big studio. So now I'm even more confused. Any audio can be Scaeva powered. What does that mean? Type thing. And, cool picture of hippies. And, I'm just going through these things that come across my mind when I'm looking at a pitch deck, because as a general partner of a fund, as an investor myself, I have a perspective, and I don't represent everybody, but I pretty much know what investors look for, because we all talk and I know how they make the decisions, et cetera. And I've made pitch decks that have gotten past the gatekeepers, the scouts, and have gotten me meetings. So kind of have a solid idea of what I'm talking about. And so here is any audio can be Scaeva powered. I still don't know what that means, what Scaeva powered means. Immersive potential audio in real time with no latency. Like, again, these are technical terms. As someone who is not technical in the audio space, and you're going to get that. You may say, I only want people who are going to know what audio is, audio technology is invest. That's not going to happen. People who write these checks, they most of them aren't going to be technical. They'll bring somebody technical in, but you got to get past that. And so here we go. So validated by pros. Okay, this is interesting. 90 million records, 8 Grammys, but I don't know if Scaeva's been used by these. Our beachhead audio creator tools. Okay, now we're getting to audio creator tools. So I'm going to expect we're solving problems for audio creators. Create pro grade audio from anywhere. Finally, I think that problem's already been solved. Like, I know people, like, for example, one of my clients and a fellow founder and someone I've known for years, going all the way back to high school, he pretty much creates audio from anywhere. So again, I may be completely ignorant. And if you're an audiophile or you're someone who, creates music, you may be thinking to yourself, but Ed, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, but I'm the one deciding on whether this goes to the investment committee, to the general partner. So I need to understand. And again, too much text. I'm scanning. Notice how I'm just paying attention to the headlines, and the headline is the ad for the slide on whether I want to read more of this. I wish I had this years ago. I wish I had what? I still don't understand. Platform, paradigm shift, etc. Buzzwords, buzzy, things like that. Opportunity scale, creators and consumers, expanding our content footprint. Again, okay, so you're going to kind of get an idea. Just too many buzzwords, too much inside technical information. This deck is overloaded. Nobody's going to read it. And, I'm just going to, let you know. Like, I talk to founders, and a lot of founders, rightfully so. I respect this about founders. A lot of founders are super stubborn when I give them the feedback, because who am I? I'm just the advisor, right? And what happens is they send their pitch deck to actual investors, friendly people inside, and then they get feedback. Too much information in the deck. We don't understand it, Sarah. And then they come back to me and say, okay, Ed, what you say about getting our pitch deck into 10 to 15 slides, etc. Okay, it starts to make sense. But hey, you know what? A lot of times founders just got to get that confirmation themselves. So you can see just too much, enable storytelling and differentiating features. I thought this was about audio quality, immersive, things like that, product offerings, acoustic models, product delivery options. Okay, now here's this interesting thing. Moonshot, spatial audio NFT. So this isn't your business model. This is just an idea that you have. Now I'm getting concerned, because if I give you my money, exactly what business model are you focusing on? Or is this a pipe dream or something like that? But as a startup investor, I know what NFTs are, and I know that we're looking at that killer app for NFT technology. And so the moonshot, like, should this be the business, et cetera? We've had conversations about this, right? Opportunity, own music history with NFTs. It's already been done. People own music history, and, I understand. Now, this is where I'm going to get into the real cool part of the technology, which I'll explain later. But, what's in NFTs and this whole spatial audio metadata and NFTs, I'll get to this in a moment. When I started hearing this, I said, this is the real innovative stuff. This is the technology. I don't, the problem is that you'll get startups that are a 10% improvement of what's out there. And, investors don't care. Startup investors don't care. Small business investors might, right? And that's fine. If it's a good business model, create something. And I talk about this all the time, 10% versus 10x. And I have investors come to me when I share something with them. They go, that's not a 10x idea. And I go, yeah, it's a 10% idea. So if you can create something that's 10% better than the best company out there, well, then you've got a shot and you'll make lots of money, right? That company's out there making millions of dollars. Well, I'm sure you can carve off some of that, but most likely they were first in the market. They've got entrenched consumer base, et cetera. And so 10% is only get you so far. Startup investors want to know, what is that 10%, that total, like just going to blow away, that Uber idea, Airbnb, et cetera. So that's the reason, like NFTs is a 10x idea. We've seen it, and we've seen, like, these days we've seen NFT plays come and go, but they are transformational technology. And eventually us investors, who believe in the space, believe everything's going to be built on NFT technology. It just so happened to be made popular by collector images and graphics, but NFTs are, changing. So now I'm interested, but I had to get to what? Slide 18 of the deck to get there, right? And, way too big. The pitch deck is way too big. Concerts need venues, even in the metaverse. Okay. So, and this is where things get compelling, especially with a monkey playing a Stratocaster. I'm at least musically inclined enough to know what a Stratocaster is. So commercialization, again, hardly understand. Leadership, this is important to me because these leaders have pretty much got their poop in a group. Like, you've got really good leaders in there who've got experience, and their advisors and people who have helped them is really impressive. So I got forecasts empty, investment highlights. So they did a seed and et cetera. And so, we look at all this stuff here, and that's going to be important. Why invest? And you don't need this slide, because guess what? The whole pitch deck should have been why invest, right? So, and I've hung out with Scott, and I understand the reason they're doing it. And this is the type of deck. All right. So now, I looked at the deck and I blew holes through it. And I told them all the reasons I thought the deck is not going to work. It's just not going to work for it. And it was proven so. They put it out there and just not getting any bites from investors and what have you. So we go back and forth and drill down, and I'm having conversation with the CEO. And I ask him, I'm like, do you, like, is your passion, like your whole vision, the problem that you were originally going to solve, all about audio, tools for creators? Like, what is it, like concert venues? And he just talked about how he complained that, he does a lot of things in 3D or in VR, Oculus and all that stuff. And he says the sound is crappy. And he's like, that's what's holding it back. I was like, that's a big problem, right? And so I said, let's narrow down on the problem that you really want to solve and what you set out to solve. So then what happens is we go back and forth, and it takes time. It takes time. Pitch decks are infuriating, not as infuriating and soul-sucking as pitching to investors and trying to get their attention, but trying to narrow down and hone down your narrative into just one pitch deck, that's not an easy thing. So I get it. And that's the reason people like me have a job. Okay. Not only have I done it and I know how infuriating it is, but I understand. I'm a third party. I'm unbiased, and I can kind of give you some advice without being emotionally involved so much that you can't see the forest for the trees. So we take a step back and we talk about it. Now I'm going to show you the next version of pitch deck, a lot more improved, but still some issues. So you may have a thing like this. So I said, just give me the text, forget the images and all this stuff. Just give me the text. And so we got Scaeva acoustic virtual reality. All right, now we're moving more into the space, right? Still not there yet for me. But then, poor audio is holding immersive experiences back. Okay, now we got a problem. Poor audio is holding immersive experience back. But here's my question. What immersive experience? What is that? Everyone's talking about the metaverse, VR and AR, but a critical part of the experience is missing audio that sounds just like the real world. All right. Now we're getting somewhere, but the problem is we haven't really highlighted how painful this is, How big of a problem is it, and exactly how much pain, how much is it costing people, etc.? What's so compelling about, solving this problem in terms of how many users, etc. Right? So it's like, now I'm being hyperbolic and I'm giving you kind of an example to give you an idea. But if we say, 20 million people die a year because, their audio doesn't sound like the real world, costing, the government and healthcare systems, $6 billion. I don't know, something like that, right? But I'll show you how I approach this in a moment. But now we're getting closer. The next, okay, here's the solution. So check this out. We went from cover right to problem. Awesome. Now we're going to go to solution. We make virtual spaces sound like the real world. All right. But what is it? Like, that's what you intend to do. But what is it? Like, exactly what is the technology, etc.? Because we had acoustics from the real world. Okay, this is more how it works, but not a solution, right? But we're getting closer. You can already see the drastic improvement from the first deck to this deck. Immersive content is a $1 trillion market. All right, this is top down. Yes, it shows the potential 1 trillion, but not enough details, etc. I'm like, okay. I've seen people tell me like they have their cybersecurity plays, and cybersecurity is a $3 trillion industry. Okay, big deal. But there's so many segments of cybersecurity. I don't get it. So, okay, I know what they're trying to attempt here, but it's not hitting the mark. Okay, now we've got a little bit more of the solution and some details. We invented technology that captures real-world acoustics quickly and efficiently. All right, now you piqued my interest, and that doesn't require special formatting. Any audio can be specialized in real time. Too technical. I have no idea what that means, right? So the headline was a lot better. How we're different, demand for spatial audio is growing, but current approaches fail. That's not a differentiator. You're still talking about the market. Every environment has unique acoustic signature. That's not talking about how you're different. Our patented technology, okay, now you're different. You got a patent on your technology, validated with Grammy-winning award audio engineer. So you set me up with a promise to share how you're different, and you didn't deliver. All right. So, but I like the points. We're getting closer, warmer. How we commercialize this, how we make money, B2B licensing, etc. Good. We're going to need that. Our first NFT partnership, the Record Plant. Now, this is traction. All right. They have partnered with the Record Plant. This is a studio where Fleetwood Mac, Prince, Metallica, and more recorded. All right. Now I'm getting interested, right? Still too much information. But hey, now we're really telling investors this is a legitimate problem, validated by this recording studio, and like there's a press release that came out, etc. Now we got the leadership slide, which is great, still great. And then this is the raise, how much we're going to ask. And then now we got the wrap up. Here's the contact, right? And again, we should have talked about all this before. Like, this is what your deck is for, right? So you don't need to put this. Everybody should be like super stoked just to contact you right away. All right. So here we go. So now here's what I'm going to do. So we have the evolution, and this is the reason I want to show you this. Not only am I totally stoked and jazzed on the content or the startup itself and the team. I've spent time with this team. I really believe this is the team to pull it off, right? They're just not good at communicating what they do, and founders usually aren't. So that's the reason we have advisors and we have these services that we do to help draw that narrative out there. And, I do this all day long, deck after deck after deck. So here we go. So then what I did is I took everything that says, let me take a crack at it. All right. Let me just amalgamate it all together. And this is my version that I sent them. Now, spoiler alert, too long did not read. I think that I used that correctly. They've already come back with a deck, and we're getting close there. But I just wanted to show you how I take everything from a narrative perspective, everything that we learn, listen to the founder, and you can do this as well. You just go through and you just try and boil everything down to these slides, problem, solution, market size, etc. And every deck pretty much follows the same thing. If you're part of the startups.com community, check out the pitch deck perfection course. I think you can just see it on startups.com anyway, learn how to do a pitch deck. And Will Schroeder, the CEO of startups.com, just breaks everything down in formula. I thought I was good at pitch decks. After I took his course, I was like, I've learned a few things, right? So it's kind of like, I started off as Obi-Wan Kenobi, started learning from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then I was like, oh man, now I'm learning from Yoda, type thing. Not to, pump his tires, but I've gotten a lot faster using these formulas. And so here's what we did. Okay, Scaeva, straightforward. This is your first sentence. And like, I just want to wrap it up, and I want to be a little intriguing, but don't want to be hyperbolic, and I don't want to hype it up. Okay. 3D audio to make virtual reality and the metaverse mainstream. Okay. So just straight matter of fact, everybody knows what 3D is. Everyone knows what audio is, and everyone knows what virtual reality and the metaverse is, a buzzy word, and to make metaverse mainstream. Okay. So now I'm setting it up. So here's what I did. I researched the problem. And so I went and I said, how hard is this problem? Like, and I wanted to show investors that the team at Scaeva knows something that other investors or other companies in this space don't know, because they're not specializing in audio. So I found this stat. Well, I actually created this stat because I looked at, I had to crunch these numbers from Crunchbase, pun intended. Since 2017, 14.7 billion has been invested into VR, AR, yet they have not gone mainstream because the current spatial audio technology does not yet replicate a real world immersive sound. That's a $14.7 billion problem. That's what I'm claiming. Big problem. You want a B behind your problem for billions. And I can just basically tell people, listen, like, do you use VR and AR? Like, do you sit in VR all day and all this stuff? Why haven't those technologies gone mainstream? This is a problem that investors will recognize and understand, especially if they've invested in the space, and that's their investment thesis. So the key is that who has this problem and how painful is this problem? And we've highlighted it, right? And so you want to qualify and quantify the problem as much as possible. And here's the key. You want to make it painful. So I'm thinking to myself, this is my hypothesis, is that if I can get this in front of an investor who's invested in VR, AR, or knows someone who's invested in VR and AR, it's like, wait a second. These guys have a secret sauce to make VR and AR work. And I didn't think about the audio being the factor that holds everything back. Right. So then that's, where we are. Right. So then now this is a solution side, problem solution. Scaeva makes virtual reality sound like the real world by capturing 3D acoustic data of physical spaces into metadata for VR, AR, and the metaverse. So then I credited, Forbes, because I use this picture, like, so I just, pictures worth 1,000 words. So I put that in there. Okay. Just being straightforward. This is what the software, this is what the technology does. Not, Scaeva makes virtual reality sound like the real world, right? Or Scaeva puts, immersive audio in the metaverse. How? So I'm just throwing it out there and saying, this is exactly what the product does, captures acoustic data, physical spaces into metadata, and then puts it in a VR, AR in the metaverse. All right. And makes everything sound like the real world. All right. So this is a direct solution of the problem. So now I'm going to call out, we got patented technology, immersive sound quality, evaluate Grammy-winning audio engineers. So I want to put all those Grammy Award winners over, like Van Halen and, things like that. So immediately I'm highlighting, we've already got market validation. This isn't just a pipe dream. Audio engineers have actually said, yes, Grammy winning. Yes, this is different. So now I'm showing more traction, and this is real. Current use case, Elvis Presley estate. The Elvis Presley estate is contracted Scaeva to capture the 3D acoustic data of the jungle room and monetize it. Wait a second. You mean the people who manage Elvis Presley's estate you're in business with them already? Yeah. Also partner with the record plant where Fleetwood Mac, Prince, Metallica, and more recorded. Now I'm giving them a taste. This train has already left the station, everybody. We're already doing business. So if you've got traction, you've got things to say them up front. How any audio can be spatialized in real time. This is how it works. And then I just put bullet points, just step by step. And obviously there's going to be better design. Hopefully they get, like a visual, step-by-step type thing, but patented technology, captures, acoustic, metadata. Now there's a little more information because by this time the investors either closed the deck and said, thanks, but no thanks. Or they said, wait a second, there's something here. I want to learn more. And they're spending more time. So here's the TAM. And I'm not going to get into this because I think I've talked enough. And there's lots of articles out there on doing a bottom-up TAM. So here's the key is please do a bottom-up TAM SAM. And if you need help, go look up articles on there, like bottom up, right? Too many people do top down. This is the antidote to that. Immersive sound is a $1 trillion market. Immersive experience, all that stuff. No, it doesn't mean anything. TAM is, the total accessible market, how much money you'd make if everybody used you. SAM is how much that what part of the market you can focus on. So that's the reason I gave them instruction. I said, SOM, the dollar that you reasonably can reach. Your TAM needs to be in the billions. Your SOM needs to be in the hundreds of millions, because that's what Unicorn does as far as revenue is concerned, right? And you need to know the math. Like you actually have to put some logic behind your TAM, SAM, and SOM, because investors are going to challenge you on this. Like they'll beat that up and they'll go, oh, we don't think you can really do as much business as you think you can do, type thing. So Scaeva makes money through NFT smart contracts. So now we're putting in, we're going to charge clients this way, min sell, license and sell music producers and sound engineers. Okay. So here's how we're going to make money through smart contracts. And I put in the headline. Notice how I'm avoiding putting in, business. I don't put up here business. Okay. Business model. I don't have to worry about that type of stuff because I'm just saying it right in the headline. All right. Everything that needs to be said is right in the headline. Scaeva makes money through NFT smart contracts. Right. And then next is now patented technology. So I want them to say when they're patented and give solid proof, like put your patent number there and all that stuff. So that just adds more because patents are, defensible, right? They actually create competitive advantages and barriers to entry for the competition. Then I'm going to say go-to-market strategy starting with funded projects, right? And so I just went step by step instead of, we're just going to do social media or we're going to take Google ads out. No, I'm actually going step by step on how we're going to reach the market, right? Very, very detailed and concise. And then I put the team, 7 exits, 2 IPOs, 21 acquisitions. So this is a team to pull it off, etc. And then current traction and milestones. Then I just want them to put out the list and the revenue. I think they do like 4 million a year in revenue. Like that needs to be put out there, right? White paper available. And I say, please list all deals, etc. Show the traction, show the milestones, right? I've already given you a taste up front. Listen, we've already got traction because we're doing these record deals, etc. And then seeking $6 million bridge round. I think they changed that, but I just already raised 3.2 million seed, need percent breakdown, use of funds. So they've already got that in the other pitch deck, and I put that in there. And then poof, contact information. All right. So all in all, if we look at those slides, we are talking about small number. Now, to their credit, they went and like this is 14 slides. They got their other pitch deck down to 11 slides. So I just expanded a little bit and we're going back and forth. So like I said, I send them this version of the narrative. We beat it up. They go back and forth, but I keep it simple. And then they expand on it and add the details, but they shouldn't be adding more slides, anything like that. And then you know what we do? We test it. We throw it out there. We put it out to investors. Do you understand, all those things? And then the most important thing is that we get someone saying, well, how can I get more information on this? We don't have to put it all in the pitch deck because normally founders have a master pitch deck. And that was kind of like the first deck with all the information. Have that ready because you're going to have multiple pitch decks depending on who you're pitching to. So have that ready and you can pick and choose, et cetera. It's the advice that I always give. You're going to need multiple pitch decks, technical one, a full one with a business model, financial plan, et cetera. But this is the screener deck that we went through because that's the most important one because you want to get the attention of investors, right? So there you have it. pitch deck review. Once again, thank you to Scaeva's team for being so courageous to be, they're willing to let me do this so that other founders and startups.com, our accelerator community, is that they're willing to show that so that we can all learn from it together. Hope this has been helpful. Check out all the other pitch deck reviews that I do, the critiques. Let me know if you got any comments, and if you need office hours, we're doing office hours all the time. You can even talk to Will Schroeder himself and get critique on your pitch deck, and work through slide by slide. We're here to help you out. Again, hope this has been helpful. See you in the next pitch deck critique and review.